everybody. Welcome to our BASI channel. I'm Lauren and I'm here with Haley. We have a really nice workout plan for you today. Haley is in her third trimester as of today for her pregnancy, so congratulations. This workout is going to be safe for that point in pregnancy, and we're already thinking about some things that are happening, just physical changes in Haley's body, and so I'm going to do a lot of work to focus on her upper back, kind of helping to stretch out the front and get the muscles in the back working since there's just more weight pulling Haley forward. We're also going to do some just general work around her legs and her hips to help support underneath, to help kind of hold her baby up and in. And we're going to start right away with that part first. You will need a prop today. We're using a Theraband. And this Theraband, we have a nice light one. It's going to be good for the arm work. You're welcome to kind of switch around if you have different weights. The footwork would be nice with heavy too, but we figured we'd just keep it simple. So what you're going to do to start is I'm going to have you stand just at a diagonal so people can kind of see your profile and some of your front. And we'll have you take your Theraband underneath both of your feet. So you'll want to flatten it out so it's not balled up, and step the ball of your foot onto the Theraband. And then bring your feet just like sit bone distance apart, so they're right in line with your hips, and just hang on to the edges of the band with your hands. You're welcome to choke up high if you need more resistance, or grab towards the end of your band if you need a little less. So from here, we're going to start with footwork. This is really similar to footwork we actually do on the reformer a lot in Pilates. So we want to start with really good posture here. Already just thinking of opening the shoulders. A gauge for yourself at home is that your hands are like right in line with the center of your thigh, and that the palms are facing in so that we're not rolled forward with the palms facing back. Haley's got a really good position here. She's lifting up through her back. And we're just going to start with a knee bend. As you extend your knees, you're resisting up against the bands. It's this nice small range. And rather than going into like a squat, feel like you're trying to keep your shoulders right over your hips the whole time. That's it. And press back up. And boom, extend. And bend, extend. So just building a little bit of heat. I like to start with footwork. We do it in our equipment classes a lot just because you have larger muscle groups. Once those larger muscle groups are warm, everything else warms up much quicker. Good, bring those shoulders back just a hair. There it is. And I'm just kind of cueing. I want Haley all the whole time here thinking about drawing her baby in like she's giving her baby a hug. And press. And keep that tailbone straight down. That's it. And one more. And now, same exact thing, but rise up onto your toes. So there's some balancing involved. And if you need to adjust your feet on the Theraband just because you realize you're too far, go ahead. But we want to keep it so like the heels are hovering. And what I look at is like if I made a little fist, she could balance and just have a little pressure on my heels. So doing the same movement now with the heels up, she'll bend and press, keeping the heels off the ground. And if she can go higher, I would love to see those calves. Yes, there it is, working. I'm gonna let go. I should have warned her before I took my hands away. But the same idea. You can pretend you have just a little support or tiny, like tennis ball size under your heels. And now keep your back straight up and down as you go down. That's it, nice, and press. Coming onto the toes, we're adding a little balance work, which is great to train in a safe way while you're pregnant, because balance is something that's thrown off as your center of gravity keeps getting pulled more forward and changing. Good. And this also gets her ankle joints articulating a little bit too. Something else that gets really tight at this point in the pregnancy and through the end are the calves. Is that weight, they're constantly resisting us coming forward. So getting them stretching and moving. One more here. And then let's take your heels together. Keep your toes in that V. And now you can use your heels to kind of support each other, really pushing them in. And bend and press. Good, drawing the ribs in and pressing, squeezing the inner thighs at the top. Try not to push forward into my hand as we go down. That's it. and bend. And see if you can get the in-thigh squeeze all the way at the top. And press, and bend, and press, and keep checking in, keep hugging that baby in, and press, and 2. One more, still on the toes, heels are still lifted. Now keep the heels up. Rotate your feet to parallel, back into your calf raised position now. And then we'll do just the heels. So now knees stay straight. I'm going to switch sides with you. And you'll stay straight. And you just feel the Theraband's just giving you a little bit of support, a little resistance. Nothing too much. Keep your knees all the way extended now. And just, lift straight up with the heels and down. What I want you to look at in your calf raise is think about that you don't roll out to your pinky toes, that you keep your feet really evenly distributed that way across all 10 toes, and up and down. And maybe for some of us, if you do tend to roll out at the top, think about your inner ankle bones, just gently pulling in towards each other. And down, good, and lift, and down, and come back to those shoulders, palms good, facing in, and 2 more, and down, and 1 more, and down. Now we'll rise up just to the top position, bend one knee, draw the other heel back, rise up both, and switch. So it's a little prance, and up, and prance. Have you ever watched a prancercise on YouTube? Oh my gosh, I've gone down some rabbit holes watching the prancercising and all the workout. It's a philosophy. Yes. So here, where it's a lot of coordination, and you can start to notice, especially up in your hips, if there starts to be a little bit more movement, you want to try and keep that minimized so that you're still very stable up above. And 2, good, and up, and down. 1 more each side, and up, and in. Let the feet go down. You'll keep your front foot on the Theraband. Take your back leg, pick one leg, and take it for a big step back behind you, like a standing lunge. And make sure your toes on this one want to go squared off. So your back foot, bring that heel a little wider, even a little bit more. There, and bending through the front leg, lean forward so you get a nice calf stretch. And this can be as far back as you can. It should feel like it's hard work to get your heel down, but that you can. If your heel's back so far it can't touch the ground, bring it in a little. But we want to get that nice stretch for these muscles that are working all the time. Taking a couple of breaths here, and then just checking back in with that upper body. And I love Haley's alignment that she's keeping her front knee over her ankle, not shooting her knee past her toes. I'll just hold here for 1 more nice breath, stretching that lower body out. And then as she takes that exhale, let's step your back leg forward, anchor it underneath your Theraband. And then we'll take the opposite leg back, draw the heel down towards the ground. Make sure you don't arch in the back. Keep the nice lift from the lower abs pulling up. Keep the upper back nice and lifted. And you get that stretch forward. Lean forward a little bit there. And that nice stretch for her calves. You want to make sure you're not rolling to the inner or the outer edge of your back foot. Also, so you can stretch both sides, the right and the left half of your calf nice and evenly. And 1 last breath in. And stepping forward. Now bring both feet back to the Theraband. And we're doing just one. Often on the reformer, we'll do single leg footwork. And what we're going to do here is just take one of her legs up. We're only going to do the heels version. So heels will stay planted. She'll lift one leg up in front of her to 90 degrees. Good, and go ahead and point the foot. Good, in her thigh, she's doing really nice. It's parallel to the ground, 90 degrees at the knee joint. She looks really good. Now the challenge is to keep that, keep her trunk vertical as she bends her supporting leg and extends it. Good, and pressing up, and bend, and press. And this is where that feedback from the band can be really helpful. If it starts to feel like one side or the other, it can help you even yourself back out. Good. She's finding her groove. A lot of the time, the supporting hip is the one you want to think of lifting so you don't end up dropping on that side. Lift that right knee. Good. A little more. And 2. And 1. Great. Place that leg down. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Bring the other leg forward. And find that 9 degrees. Point through the foot. And bend and press. Really common for one side to feel more challenging than the other. If you're used to always sitting in one hip, we often have like a stable side and then a mobile side. So if you do feel that, maybe taking more repetitions or starting on the side that feels more difficult so that you don't end up doing less repetitions on the other side, on the weaker side than you do if you started with your stronger side. Good, 2 more. And keeping that chest proud as you bend. That's it. And set the foot down. And you can go ahead and finally step off of that Theraband. Go ahead and take the band into each hand, and we'll just face forward and bring the hands outsides of the shoulders. We'll take a little shoulder stretch here. So feet can come nice and narrow. Good. Just find that nice alignment again here. We'll take the arms up overhead and gently circle them down and around behind you. And then taking them back. Inhale and exhale. So this is going to stretch through the pecs, the front of your chest. Again, I'm also interested in stretching the front side in addition to contracting, working out the back side of her shoulders. And up and over. She's doing a really nice job not elevating or shrugging. We want to watch that for yourself. If you are shrugging, try going wider or just pulling apart right as you pass your head. The other thing you want to look for is that you're not flaring the ribs forward as you get to that tight spot. If your shoulders are tight, your back is going to try to compensate for it. So just being aware of that too. Haley's core is looking really good. Let's take one more overhead. And arms will stay on this last one, right up towards the ceiling. And you'll keep one arm anchored up towards the ceiling and take a nice side bend over to the other side. So you can use this hand as your anchor. This hand give you a nice pull to really stretch the side of your body. She's got her core with her baby there. You want to feel these muscles are stretching and not contracting, because when they contract excessively, your obliques during pregnancy, they can contribute to that separation of the linea alba. So we want to encourage lengthening of the obliques. Let's go ahead to the other side. Bring the other arm overhead, take a nice side bend over towards me. So we're not focusing on contracting the side she's going toward. That's just nice, passive. This side's what we're focusing on, is stretching. Good, and you can keep your chin right in line, good. And we'll come back up, gently lower the band down. Now let's go move into some more upper body work, some arm work. So have you come onto the mat now, work your way down to the floor. And for this one, feet will come out in front of you, and we'll take the band around your feet once more. And we're going to start with some bicep curls here. So we want to be strengthening, building some strength in your arms, because you're going to be carrying your baby all the time in just a few months. So what we'll do is she'll have her feet hip width apart and flex. That flex is just going to kind of help keep the band in place. We'll bring your arms straight out in front of you. And yes, she can choke up nice and high. You might not know until your first one exactly where you want to grab on your band, so feel free to make those adjustments. Arms shoulder height, and then we'll rotate the palms up towards the ceiling. And just keeping the back nice and flat. So I even think Haley could come forward a little. And if she needs a little more space for her pelvis, she can go a little wider, especially as your baby starts to grow. Let the feet just adapt. Arms come back to that shoulder height, wrists in line, and we'll take just a regular bicep curl and extend. I'm going to ask, that we stay a little higher so that the deltoid in the front of the shoulder is also working just to hold the upper arm bone in place. That looks really good. How's the tension feel? Feels good. Good. Draw those front ribs down a little. Yes. Try not to pull onto my hand. Pull away from me. Good. And forward. And one more like that. Now we're going to add a little core control. So Haley's going to hinge back at a diagonal. You can keep your arms straight at first. Hinge back. She wants to think a nice co-contracted with her baby, with her back. Bring your head back a little. And now we'll take 6 bicep curls here. And 5. So she's hinging. She's working her hip joints. She's feeling her back. She's feeling her core and those arms. And 2, keep the palms up. You might not get that rubbing. There it is. And 1, lengthen, lift the trunk back up. Take a big breath in. We're going to do that 2 more times with the hinge. Maybe each time try to get to that same spot, if not a little further back. What you can also do, I'm just noticing we're getting a little rubbing. So if you wrap it through your fingers and grab, that can also kind of help alleviate some of the strap rolling on your hand. Let's go straight with the arms first, palms up towards the ceiling. Palms I care about. Really, it's not so much the forearms I'm wondering about. It's more the shoulders I want in a little external rotation, just because we tend to get more and more internally rotated. So we'll go ahead and start there again. Take that hinge back, trying not to arch in the back. Bring the head with the trunk. Good. And we'll take again 6. And wrist stay straight. And 5. Good. And 4. And 3. Looking really nice. 2. And 1. Lengthen and lift. And we have one more set for those biceps. You should feel the front of the shoulder too. And we'll take a last one. Arms hinge back. Keeping that core. Scoop your baby in. Beautiful. And we'll go 6. And 5. And 4. And 3. And 2, and 1, coming up, release there, flip the palms down. Now we're going to take this more for the back side of the shoulders and your upper back, so it's going to be like a rhomboid pull, but the first one more so with the shoulders. So we go to about 90 degrees in the shoulder joint and in the elbows. Watch you don't pull your hands towards your shoulders, but you really do keep this space for each one of these. And then reach it back forward. And pulling wide and back forward. And I love that Haley's keeping the same height. I want to watch you don't dip your elbows down. If anything, elbows might be a little higher than your hands is desired. And out and forward. And she's starting to lean towards me a little. Let's come forward. You can always widen those knees. Make some room to make it comfortable. And let's add on now. She's done a few. She's warm. She'll go here. Keeping the elbows at 90 degrees. I want her to pull her shoulder blades together. Elbows a little, they dropped a little. There you go. And reach forward and release. We'll do that again. Part 1 the same. Part 2, squeeze those shoulder blades in. Feel the rhomboids. Release and straight. And again, bend and squeeze without the forearms coming in. Find that 90. There it is. Release and down and pull and squeeze. Better. Release and down. I love it. And one more. Squeeze, release, and down. Take a moment just to let go, and let's just take a stretch forward, reaching your hands towards the floor. Just to release, I know we're using these back extensors a lot. The hip flexors are working to stay here. We just have 2 more exercises sitting for these arm series. Staying comfortable? Yep. Good. Okay, coming back up after that. Let's set up for the same. This one starts with just one arm doing that action you just did, like a row. So we'll take, let's go ahead and take the arm, left arm back to 90 degrees and keep this other one just anchored nice and straight forward. From here, rotate the forearm up towards the ceiling. So there's those shoulder rotators again. And back down and reach it forward. And again, same arm. Pull, rotate, return, and down. Nice. And I want that other arm nice and still. This one's going to get tired too. Just holding. Pull back, rotate, rotate. And one more. Back, rotate, rotate. Good. And now we're adding on. Pull it back, rotate. Now extend and look at the hand. Try and get a little arch in the upper back. So your upper back extensors engage. Return the trunk of the arm and reach it back forward. Again, bend, rotate the form, extend that upper back thing, sternum to the sky, and return the trunk upright, return the arm. One more on that side. Pull, rotate, extend. That's very nice. You can see, I can feel her upper back working. Release other side now. Just the first phase for a few. We'll pull back and rotate, rotate. Come forward and keep this other arm straight for me. Good. So just keep it straight. Good. Just the right arm now. And up. This will happen too. The bands start to get rolled up. Feel free to like flatten them out again so that you can keep the anchor point. We don't want it to smack you in the in the face. And pull back. I've done it all. Down. One more with just the rotation. And then we'll add that pull. So we'll pull back, rotate. Now extend, looking back. I want to see this upper back trying to arch. Return and come back. And boom, rotate, extend and reach up. And return the trunk, return the arm. One more, pull back, rotate, extend, feel that nice arch, return, derotate, and take it back. Good job. We'll take the band underneath your sits bones. I'm going to flatten it out for you. Okay, and then have a seat right on top of the band. So you know it's not going to go anywhere on you. And then we'll take the band in each hand. It might be a little different on your sides. There we go. This last one seems very simple. We're starting in a goalpost position, but to do it correctly, to do it slow, is going to increase how much you get out of it. It's going to expands that potential of the exercise tremendously. So we'll start in a 90-degree bend, the shoulders and the elbows. And from here, imagine you're sliding up a wall. So we're going to go straight up towards the ceiling, just an overhead press with that band. Watch the wrists are flat there. And then bend, pull right back down. Again, we'll press up, making knuckles a little forward, yes. And bend back down. And what I would prefer is if anything comes forward, I want the elbows to be a little, forward of the hands rather than the other way around. Good. And bend down. I love that Haley's not shrugging. I can see she's keeping these muscles relaxed through her upper back. And down. And up. And down. Elbows a little forward. Up at the bottom here. Yes. Two more. Press. Down. Last one. Press. And down. Go ahead and take that band aside. We're not going to use it for this next one. I want to come onto a quadruped and just do a little work for your core now to kind of round out your session. We worked on the lower limbs, the upper limbs. Now let's work on what connects them. So you can come into a quadruped position. And let's start with the knees. They can be under your hips. They can also be a little wider if you're trying to make space too. If you're as far along in your pregnancy and following along with Haley here. Shoulders right over your wrists. And yes, I want the feet nice and relaxed here so you can use that for support. So the first thing we're going to do is just take some nice breaths here. So you'll inhale As you exhale, imagine you're trying to pull that baby up and towards your spine. You get a good stretch through the back, but I can feel the abs really pulling in here. Inhale, release back to neutral. And exhale again, pull in and scoop, letting that lower back stretch out. It's okay if your head just slightly responds. I'm going to pull this to this side so they can see. And pulling up, up, up. Good, getting that nice stretch. This part of our back gets really tight when we carry a lot of weight forward. Inhale in our pregnancy, so just giving yourself that nice round stretch. And inhale. Good. We're going to pause for a second for David. And drawing in, scoop. And then back to neutral. Now something a little different. Without changing the shape of your back, just try and draw that baby up and in a little bit. Feel those abs support. That's where we're going to stay for this next one. Straighten out one leg. And reach it nice and long, hip height. And just tap that leg down. We're trying to keep the hip bone same distance off the floor. So we'll tap and lift. Inhale, tap. Exhale, lift. And so she's working a little through her glutes, her hamstrings. But we're most interested in what's happening. Yes, nice lift here in the core. And 2. And 1. Good. Send that knee down. Same thing with the other leg. I'm going to move that band out of the way. And tap down. Exhale, lift. And I love the range. Haley's not going so high and losing her back. Since this is kind of focusing on the core, but really important that we don't see a big change here. And up, and down, and up. Good. Exhale on the lift. A little wider through this left hip. Yes, good. Now keep that as you tap. Beautiful. And 2 more. And lift. And 1 more. And lift. Set that leg down. Extend your first leg back out, just straight on the floor this time, and then take the opposite arm out as well. So we'll lift the leg and the arm up to height of the trunk, and both can just tap down. We'll stay straight. Exhale, lift, and tap. So again, I'm thinking a little wider on this right hip. Yes, just when you lower so that you don't drop the pelvis down. Good, nice lift. And 2. She's keeping nice and stable in her shoulders, which I love. And next one, staying up, pull your elbow and your knee in. Hug that baby around the back, scoop. Inhale, stretch out long. Exhale, pull in. You can let the head respond to the rest of the spine. Drawing in, just gazing down slightly. Inhale, reach. And 2. And reach. And last 1. And reach, set your leg, set your arm down. Reestablish that nice neutral spine here. We'll take 1 more breath between sides. So inhale, exhale, pull that baby back up and in. Good, keeping that back flat. Send the opposite leg out straight now. Opposite arm out straight. And no change here in this trunk these first few. Just lift and tap and lift. And tap. This is a nice way to kind of work that oblique sling in your body from opposite hip to shoulder without stressing, contracting, shortening your obliques. That again is going to relate to that pulling away from your midline, that split. And a little wider with the left hip. Good. Stay up now. Elbow and knee pull in and round. Draw that baby up. Inhale, lengthen out, nice, and pull in, scoop. Inhale, control that way out, and in, and stretch. Good, so she's never letting her abs go. I can feel my hand underneath it. We're not dropping, she's still holding. She's intensifying that stretch on the knee and elbow together, but she's maintaining some core control on the way out. One last one, in, and out. And set your arm, your leg down. Let's widen out through your knees and just sit your hips back towards your heels for a nice stretch. You can come forward. I love positions like this where your knees are in front of your hips, especially as we get into third trimester, because you want that pelvic floor to start stretching. So positions like this where you have deep hip flexion, knees are either, if you're sitting like higher than your hips, or in this case, since she's sitting down or on her shins, knees are in front of. Great for stretching the pelvic floor. And we'll just take a nice breath in here and exhaling out. And one more breath in and out. Go ahead and work your way back up off the mat. She's going to work her way to standing. You can work your way up off the floor. And awesome work today. Thanks for joining us for this workout at home. And we hope that you feel balanced. Some of those things that are starting maybe to come into play if you're at this point in your pregnancy, that you're starting to get a little bit more balance back into your body. So thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.